Hey there, it's Jennifer Windsor. So happy to be with you live on Facebook Live. And I'm here with Allowance with Money. Well, the first thing that people are probably asking is, what the heck is allowance? Are you talking about the stuff that my parents promised me and then they never gave me, or they wanted me to do crazy chores? That's not it. Actually, I'm gonna have a look at my handy dandy foundation manual. Foundation is one of the first courses that you would end up taking with Access Consciousness, and I'm gonna talk to you about allowance from there. So allowance is everything that a person says or does is just an interesting point of view and has no relationship to you. So you don't have to align and agree with their point of view or resist and react to it. Nor do they have to do this with your points of view. So what if you never created your relationships based on what you have in common, but an allowance of everything that they are and being grateful for that? So allowance does not require solidity, and judgment does. Hi, Stacy, I see you. And so what does that mean about money? So one of the things that people might ask is, does that mean allowing? And so allowing is an energy. Now I'm just going to say this to you so you can feel the energy of the words. So allowance and allowing. Now, which one of those energies is heavier? So allowing is like, oh, well, I allowed them to do that to me. Or it's okay, I allowed them to do that. Or they allowed me to do that. And so what does that imply? That implies that there's permission involved. And so allowance is something completely different. It's just allowing people to do what it is, or being an allowance of people being who they are in the world. And so that in itself is one of the key elements of having a really great relationship with anything, and that can be money as well. So when we're talking about being an allowance of a relationship with another human being, anything they say or do is just simply something that they're saying and doing. So it actually doesn't really have a whole lot to do with you. It's just what we call in Access interesting point of view. I see you, Tanya. And so how do we have that with money? So one of the things that I've noticed with my clients is that they tend to think that the money coming in means something about them, or the money going out means something about them, or that they have to like make a deal with money, or that they're somehow controlled by money. And so being an allowance of money coming in or not coming in, bills coming in or not coming in, abundance coming in or not coming in, what if that meant absolutely nothing about you? And so I know that's a bit of a foreign concept. We just have to have a look at it and see what that means to us. And so one of the things that we can do is use that interesting point of view tool. So any point of view that you have about money, what you can do is say, oh, well, interesting point of view that I have that point of view about money. And so what points of view do we have about money? One of them that I had in spades was that in order to be able to make really good money, I would have to work really hard. And so I was working crazy hours in my career as a real estate manager. And I was making really great money, I'll tell you. But the switch off was too hard on my body. And there were clients that I was working for that, ordinarily I would not have anything to do with anybody like that. And so what would it be like for you if you could be in allowance of these points of view that you have about money? Like what other points of view do we have about money? If you can go over there and type them into the chat box, let's play. So another point of view that people have about money is that it goes out faster than it comes in. And so if that's true for you, then it could be that you have a point of view about money that, no matter how hard you work, you're never going to be able to make enough money, or the people in your family always work super hard and don't make enough money. And so if that's a point of view that you have, then cool. What if you could have interesting point of view that you have that point of view about money? And then you're like, okay, cool. So how does that work? So if you say to yourself, I think, or I know that I have to work extra hard to make money, then you can say to yourself, interesting point of view that I have that point of view. Is that really true for me? And so one of the things that you can ask yourself is that really true for me? And so if you get a light feeling, like it makes you want to laugh, you're like, oh, that's totally not true for me. Then you can actually just ask that to go away, and you can replace it with a different point of view. Or you can actually replace it with a question. So one of the questions that I love for my clients to ask is, who can I meet today that will bring more money right away? And I learned that question from Curry Glassell. She's actually an Access Consciousness certified facilitator as well. And she's the daughter of a billionaire, and she's just so elegant and so wonderful. And for her to be able to share tools about what it's like to be a billionaire's daughter with me was so valuable. Yeah, so you can say that to yourself. Who can I meet today? And then the other thing that she shared with me in a session that I had with her was, what 3 people can I connect with today that would bring more money right away? And so if you're thinking about your business, if you have a business where you have to connect with people, then what would it be like if you asked your awareness or the universe what 3 people you can call that would bring more money right away? And then you're like, oh, interesting. I would like to call this person. And so you get on the phone and connect with that person and find out that they've actually been talking about you or something that you have. And so just actually checking into your awareness about money. So Tanya says, point of view about money. It doesn't seem to matter what I do. The money situation doesn't change. So truth, Tanya, whatever you do, the money situation doesn't change, yes or no? Or do we have some blocks in place that we need to clear about money? And I would make a bet, because I know Tanya, that there might be just a few more blocks that we need to change, because we've worked together before. And one of the things that she did was really surprise herself with a couple of different events that happened in her life. And one, she managed to manifest the money to buy a car for her daughter. Just by asking, okay, cool, who can I connect with? Where can I get the money? Where can I get the car? Just asking questions about the universe. So, or to the universe. And one of the things that we've been taught with money is that it comes this way. There's only like 10 ways that you can make money. You can, inherit it. You can work really hard to get it. You can ask somebody else to work really hard to get it. Like you can get it from the government if you're, somehow smart enough to get that organized. I only came up with 4, but I'm sure there's probably another, 6 ways that money can come into your life. But what if there was infinite ways that money could come into your life? That's awesome. Yes, let the floodgates open. I see you, Patricia Anderson. So what would it be like for you if there were other ways that money could come into your life? And so we're going to be talking about this on the next live stream when I talk about gratitude with money. And so I'm going to give you a little hint that we're going to be talking about in the Wealth Blueprint course is to actually have a look at all the abundance that comes into your life. So if we're not actually in allowance of money coming in a whole bunch of different ways, if we're like, oh, well, no, I would never do that for a living, or no, I would never receive that kind of money from that kind of person, Or if I made money that way, it would mean something about me. One of the things that I love about access consciousness is that we're not looking at what this means and that means. And so that's a completely different modality, where if you're looking for an answer, you're never really going to get that from access consciousness. What you're going to get is a bunch of questions to ask in order to be able to bring about an awareness of what's true for you. And what that does is it brings about authentic results for you. So say I told you, oh, okay, well, there's only 5 ways that you can make money. And, the 6th way we didn't actually come up with is the magic way that money can come into your life. And I have a really great story. Another access consciousness facilitator that I know is a YouTube star. She's just absolutely amazing. And so I think she's been taking access consciousness classes as a student for maybe 3 to 5 years. And at the beginning, she didn't actually believe that she was beautiful. And she's made this absolutely amazing transformation in her life. So if you know who she is, put your thumbs up. She's a YouTube star. She takes beautiful pictures of herself with amazing makeup and shows people how to do makeup. And then she also is like a fashion diva. And so she takes pictures of herself with these amazing shoes and these amazing handbags. And, I would say 3 to 5 years ago, she didn't even know that about herself. And so people all over the world are sending her their things. So their beautiful things for her to wear in her YouTube videos. And so that's a way that abundance can come into your life that you may not even think is possible for you. So who can you connect with? And if you were in allowance of you being that person, if you were like, interesting point of view that I can't be a YouTube star, and just go ahead and be a YouTube star if that's something that, is pinging for you. And then also having a look at who you're not willing to receive from. So there were a couple of other questions that came up in the last video when I was talking about vulnerability and who you're not willing to receive from. So one of the questions was, is it scary? And then the other question was, can I do a little bit more defining of what vulnerability is with money? And so one of the things that I've noted is that when people are out in the workplace, they have like super barriers up. You've got your bitch face on. You're like, this is how I like it. You better deliver. And so you can look at that, and then my normal self is like, hi! So I'm like completely different because of this work that I've done with Access Consciousness, all of the courses that I've taken, and now I'm an Access Consciousness certified facilitator. This is the way that I love to connect with people. And so if you're putting up those barriers to everyone that you come up against, guess what? Their barriers go up too. And so if you can just relax your barriers, you can actually be more aware of what it is that they're looking for from you. And you don't have to deliver. You absolutely do not have to deliver what people are asking. Even if it's a part of your job, you could probably ask a question and say, is this absolutely necessary right now that I put up with this person? And, Access Consciousness was how I managed to stay sane in real estate all of those years. I've been taking courses and classes with them for, since 2010, so coming up on 6 years now. And so just even having a look at that. Allowance is interesting point of view that I have that point of view, an interesting point of view that they have that point of view, and also interesting point of view that I think that they have that point of view. So how many times have you thought to yourself, oh, well, this is where they're coming from with money. They're coming from a lack mentality, or they're expecting me to over deliver, or they're expecting something, in that regard from you. And what if you stopped and you just asked a question and you said, okay, cool. Truth, is that what my point of view is about money? Or am I aware of what something else is going on? And so in a lot of cases, you are aware of something else that's going on. And so good, be aware of that. And again, one of the things that I learned from Gary Douglas, the founder of Access Consciousness, is just because you're aware of something doesn't mean that you're the person who has to deliver. There, I lost you. Isn't that funny? So I think it might be time for me to end about allowance. And so if you didn't catch the first video, check below. And if you're interested in more about allowance and money, I would click below to follow my feed. I'm going to be live again tomorrow talking about gratitude with money. And so how great would it be for you to have more gratitude about money? And what else can you choose with money to allow you to have more gratitude with money? If you haven't downloaded your Wealth and Abundance Blueprint Guided Actualization session, please go ahead and do that. And I'm going to include a link. I'll update the intro so that you have a link to that. And, you know, what else can you choose to have more allowance with money? And anything that doesn't allow that, Access Consciousness has taught us that we can just destroy, we can just destroy and uncreate it. But more about that later. Thank you so much. This is Jennifer Cramer, Windsor, and I'm coming at you live from Facebook. Take care. Bye-bye.